once again, YouTube. So I thought today I would talk some about the neo-soul movement in music and guitar playing. Yeah, so, you know, it's kind of like one of those things where I guess people are sort of revisiting the past, seeing what they can adapt to new avenues in the future and things like that. And that's really cool, obviously. That's always good to do. You know, they're kind of moving slowly back towards jazz sort of vocabulary, you know, harmonic vocabulary, versus what we've seen that has been extremely popular as of late of the last number of decades, which is like rock and metal, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that typically a lot of it is more harmonically limited, musically speaking. And I guess maybe people are tired of playing really aggressive, dark stuff. You know, they're tired of because we already get enough dark aggressiveness in our daily lives just trying to survive, right? So the music is more of an uplifting thing, perhaps, in a certain sense. You know, and then that's how art is, right? Art's supposed to sort of fulfill a specific niche in society, versus just constantly commenting on it, which is sort of like what I feel the rock and metal thing can do a lot of the time, is like provide commentary on everything, versus the like neo-soul or jazz or other types of music, which is more like an anathema. You know, it's like more of a thing that is I don't want to say soothing or something like that, because you get the wrong idea, but it's kind of something that is an escapism versus the other. Of course, rock and metal could be an escapism too, but in a different way, and like emotionally, you know, I think maybe is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so like what you heard in the intro clip, I kind of came to the realization just today that a lot of the tunes that I have written sort of, I mean, I wrote a lot of these things years ago, but like they're, you know, kind of dipping into a neo-soul sort of a chord progression type system, you know. And that was totally unintentional. I mean, from a composer standpoint, the reason why I was writing that stuff, you know, is just because I was trying to incorporate a specific type of jazz fusion writing, and that uses, you know, chords that are fun to solo over, that are fun to play changes over, versus some stuff that's a little more naughty, like K-N-O-T-T-Y, you know, which is fun to play over too, but you don't want to be doing that non-stop 24/7. You know, you want to have variety. You want to have some tunes that you yourself and your bandmates, if you've got any, can have fun playing and sound good playing over. Because that's another trick to this, is, you know, the programming, like what Keith Jarrett would say, you know, is like one of his secret talents is in programming concerts and things like that. And I think there's truth to that. But again, like there's more of a steady thing happening. You know, it comes from this whole tradition that's being built now is coming from like funk, jazz, smooth jazz, older soul music, Motown, blues. And there's a whole bunch of different little genres and things that are all mixed together. They're like real close, but they move just a little bit and it kind of turns into a whole other genre or something, you know. But like what you heard in the intro with that, it is possible to take your jazz vocabulary and just sort of apply it directly over to, you know, this neo-soul paradigm. And again, with the fingerstyle playing too, like, so I was doing like some kind of slightly fancy bass stuff there. You know, because when you're playing fingerstyle, it's pretty easy to do what you would do on a slap bass, but instead of doing the slapping, just pluck the note, you know. Yeah. See? I mean, that's kind of a neat little technique too. I guess I should just kind of go over some little things, just stream of consciousness here, you know, as they come to me. So, I think I might have talked about this in another video, but it's a technique that I use, is hammering notes with the left hand. So like that. You know, playing like the straight 16ths and stuff, or sextuplets. And so, you know, you could just use one finger to hammer over here, but what I do is I'll alternate these two fingers. And the reason why is because as one goes to hit the other, the same note, you don't have an open string ringing, right? So it's your right hand hitting something. So it's like when I'm playing finger drums, you know, like I have two snares, it'll be like, you know, like alternate, you know, left, right, left, right. And of course you could, you can also just do, you know, anyway, yeah. Kind of a little trickier than it seems. You know, obviously with a pick, it's kind of much easier to do that kind of a figure, but if you have a pick in your hand, it's kind of hard then to jump right back into the fingerstyle thing, you know. Right. So all those slap bassisms, fingerstyle stuff can kind of merge together. I think what I do is kind of like a lot of times up-tempo version of what a lot of other people that play neo-soul music all the time would do, which is kind of slower, mid to slower tempos. But a lot of times I'm going at a slightly faster tempo, I think, and that comes, so for me, like it's like a lot of times, if I'm in that slower tempo phase, I'm thinking ballad. I'm not thinking what this is, you know. This to me is more like funk music or something than neo-soul, you know. You kind of see what I'm saying, like they all kind of link together. If it's super polished and all that stuff, you know, it kind of comes off as smooth jazz, right? But neo-soul with a little bit of edge on it, it's, you know, not quite as production studio music. Kind of sounds more like what they're going for, right? Which kind of gives it more of an edge, like a bluesier, earthier kind of edge, you know. Sounds less contrived, maybe. It's soul, right? Has more soul or something, right? And again, I think a lot of this is just like finding a middle ground of how to do stuff that's kind of more rockin' a little bit, but it's not, you know, like your power chords and other types of devices like that, you know. Again, nothing wrong with that, but you know, we're trying to do something a little more harmonic based. But anyway, so yeah, obviously all the modal harmony and all the stuff, you could just go crazy. like that. I think also, you know, if you're a jazz guitarist or you're an aspiring jazz guitarist, it might be really beneficial to look at what is going on with this, because a lot of the same stuff is present, more or less. You know, it's more based on like a steady beat, as opposed to getting it real out there and loose, well, not too, but you know, out there and loose with the harmony to the point that it starts to become jazz, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, not really, maybe not a great example, but you see what I mean? Like, it's a little more active, there's a little more tension, more dissonance, there's more, you know, extended stuff. You might throw in like, you know, like real chromaticism, the diminished scale over the dominant sevens. First part. All those real close voiced type deals. Yeah. Same kind of thing applies with the phrasing. I think it's even more important with this to kind of measure your lyricism and your phrasing, you know. Maybe like start off with one chord, like the lead chord, you know, da-da-ba-da-ba-da-da-da. And that's it, depending on the feel of the changes and like how the tune is structured and how the beat is. You can kind of swing a little bit. It's not a full-on, like, super heavy swing, but it's like a little bit of a swing feel happening. Or, you know, totally straight eighths. But with these kind of chords, you know, I mean, that's totally straight eighths, but it's still kind of has a little bit of something like that happening. Well, I say it's all diatonic. It's not purely diatonic. It's more like a lot of the notes are shared, right? So, but by the time we hit the A chord, the A minor here, and then we do the 2-5-1 back to F, the A minor, I mean, you know, well, A minor 7, right? Then it's diatonic. So, you know, we can kind of utilize a lot of F major in here. But the one odd chord out, of course, is the E7. But you know, we have E major, right? Well, Mixolydian. You can play Phrygian dominant. Sounds. It may be a bit too out there for some people that are interested in exploring this type of a genre. But again, you know, I'm more trying to show you some ideas for fusion players and jazz players, or people that are neo-soul players, but they want to try some other stuff, you know. Yeah. So, I mean, there's like a ton of progressions. That you could experiment with this stuff. But I think one of the key points here is that one of the defining things about this genre is the fact that a lot of the chord progressions are sort of semi-diatonic, but it has like one or two chords that go outside of the diatonic feel for just a second, creating a little tension, and then it's resolved, and then that's what gives it that kind of a, you know, oh, that was nice kind of a quality. So that's something to be considering. Off of my latest album, there's a tune that's called "Open and Shut," and the latter part of the tune, like I'm actually, this is like a chord progression that I'm soloing over. So it's kind of a neo-soul thing, you know. Although I was just thinking funk, R&B, jazz, you know, something that was fusion, pretty easy to play over, but it's got a little bit of meat on it so that it's, you know, you can do some stuff that's fun over that. I was actually playing with the bridge pickup on this tune, so like that particular tune though, you know, like the main riff is in 5/4. It's like, right? It goes into the and the drums are playing like a 5/4 beat, and I start playing all these. Let's see, what did I do? Oh yeah, I played this chord. And that is actually something I used to do with my older guitar synthesizers. So yeah, here's the technique. I'm kind of getting a little bit off track with the neo-soul thing, but I swear I'm going to get back on for a minute. I needed to do this to show you this. So a lot of times when I want to play a weird cluster chord, something that's like, it's just the way it's laid out, it's hard to tap it and have any power. You know, what I'll do is just hold down the notes left and right hand, and then like strum it with my pinky or something. Alright? Very interesting and useful technique. I think so I played like this thing. It was like, it's sort of an adaptation of what I did on the original I recorded like over 10 years ago. With a synthesizer patch that I had on an older Roland synthesizer I was using. Yeah. And a lot of that, you know, the twanginess that I was using the other guitar, my blue guitar, the Shark guitar. It's got a much twangier bridge pickup than this one, you know. And then of course I put a mini humbucker in the neck of that one, so it's a little girthier and it's got more of a percussive quality, whereas this one's more open and has more of a flute-like quality to it, although they're about the same volume. A lot of times I like using this better. You know, it's just, I don't know how to describe what it does. It does it for me. But I really like both that other guitar for leads and things like that, and different applications. Like the bridge pickup sound on it is really nice. It's very like clavinova, funky clav, country twang, kind of a weird, I guess like Bella Fleck and the Fleck tones, kind of like space, chicken picking, like alien country or something like that kind of quality to it. But yeah. But in the latter part of the tune, yeah, because the B melody, you know, the A melody on this thing is like the riff that's in 5/4. The B melody is the thing that starts it's in D major, you know. Same. Right. So a lot of times if I have a melody that goes over multiple octaves like that, I'll just drop the chord in the left hand because it's already playing all of the implied harmony. The implied harmony on that is very strong, you know. That's funny. That's sort of in the same key area as that phone notification. Yeah, but so I ended up like soloing over that. I go. Right. You know, with the right hand and left hands interacting with each other. Yeah, so like, I think it kind of is worth talking about some of these techniques. So a lot of times, I try to find like a unique perspective on how to approach each solo section of every song, rather than it just being a generic thing. And I'm not really trying to memorize licks necessarily. Every once in a while I'll come up with something I'm like, that just fits so good, I have to use that one lick as like a bookend or something like that, you know, and that'll just probably be in there forever every time I play the tune. Fine, you know, but a lot of times it's all just like stuff that's just off the top of my head. So, you know, like a lot of these things, when I was first getting into like playing more pianistically, I was really into this piano player named Kenny Kirkland. And Kenny does this thing, kind of where he like does call and answer, what I call a short form call and answer between the two hands. Okay, you know. They kind of complete each other, like da 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 da, you know. So I do some of that stuff, and then after kind of exploring some of the possibilities with that, you know, I started hearing a lot of different pianists, jazz pianists, and things like utilizing the same technique. You know, it's just biology. It's just like musical biology. Like, how do you get you know, all this harmony and all these notes happening with the rhythm, you know. And then another person that kind of like steered me in a certain direction was Chick Corea. And there's plenty of stuff that he's done pedagogically, videos and things like that, including this older keyboard workshop video that I really, you know, that was really like a good video for me, where he's doing this demonstration about like a technique that he uses to play, you know, faster lines or like real even and technical lines, is like where he takes both hands. So like, you know, have 2 fingers or 3 fingers or 3 fingers and 2 fingers, and it's kind of like black keys and white keys, and he's going like, you know, I can't really do it, I don't have a piano here, but you to play really precise and even lines with groups of 5 or 4 or 3, you know, because you can do that with 3 or 4. I was doing it mostly with 4 notes on a string there, you know. So like that progression, right? Yeah. Yeah, like substitutions, of course, you know, and things like that, or using like the more fusion approach of like having a static bunch of block chord triads on top, kind of meeting the bass line in the chords, or like a shelve or a voicing of the chords, so that it becomes this weird clustered, you know, thing like that. I don't think a lot of the neo-soul people maybe do this, what I'm talking about, as much. It's more of a jazz fusion thing. But, you know, the same kind of progressions that are in the neo-soul are, like, all in jazz fusion, throughout jazz fusion music in general. So it's, you know, all this stuff is related at the end of the day. Yeah. Well, anyway, speaking of some of the stuff that was on the last album that I released. Yeah, you got this too that I've done, and I've done a video on it, like a AI generated video. I've done a drum play along video, and I guess now I'm gonna talk about the progression I'm improvising on, which is Yuyu. I'm in New Mexico right now, by the way, so I don't think anything bad's happening here or whatever, but, you know, I did want to kind of briefly kind of play over this a little bit and kind of talk about what's happening. So yeah, yeah, I guess unlike the neo-soul thing, like this is kind of a little more very fusion-y, obviously harmonically. So you got like G major, right? Then F minor 11, so in minor 11 chord. So like you'd have an F13, dominant 13, drop the major, the 10, down to a minor 10. Hear people play chordal harmony using a minor 11 top shape there. It's also related to the flamenco stuff. I use this kind of chord. And I was really, when I wrote this, I don't remember what the impetus was that started the whole thing. I was just trying to write a fusion chart with a different kind of a feel. You know, like a different, like something that got off of the funk train, got off of the traditional jazz stuff, got off of the rock fusion stuff onto something that's more exotic, I guess, sounding. So I settled on this kind of flamenco-ish kind of a thing. Yeah. But when I'm improvising over this, I use these. Yeah. So it's like a minimal amount of movement that I'm trying to get with the left hand. Whenever possible, I try to come up with a minimal amount of movement for the comping. I let the right hand carry most of the melodic and harmonic statements. The left hand's just there to like fill out everything, especially when there's a lot of harmony happening. Right? So that's pretty nice set of changes to improvise over. And then of course it goes to D minor, I guess 11, D flat minor 11. I was actually playing through a bunch of play-alongs on YouTube, and I saw this progression. It was like a chromatic fusion thing like this, and I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. Maybe I'll throw that in a tune. And then of course this. So it's kind of stair walks down. D minor 11, D flat minor 11, then C major 7, sharp 11, which is D. Is just like you take a D flat minor 11 and then drop the bass down a half step. Most of the same notes, right? And then again, a lot of times when I write tunes, like I'm trying to do voice leading, like very interesting voice leading, so that it's just like, you know, it's not the same kind of harmonic intervals that you've heard in other people's music, you know. So we got. And that's straight up, you know, well, you know, you got like a B flat major chord with a C in the bass. So it's like you have chords that are resolving into each other. So it's like resolution, 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 you know. And then you have the same shape, except you have D flat major with an E flat in the bass. And then you got E flat major with an F in the bass. So, except that one's a different inversion, you know. So yeah. So what's cool about that is that when you're playing this, so you can play like minor or minor pentatonic type stuff. And then when the change happens, you literally just whatever idea you had, you go down a half step, right? And then of course, play your Lydian or any arpeggio shapes. By the way, that is so hard to do with one hand, you know. You can do it with two hands real easy, but that's because the only way to finger this is to go like a middle finger. Wait a minute. Yeah. So I have to go like middle finger, ring finger, middle finger, index finger, right? And then you can go straight from the C Lydian type thing with a sharp 4 to B flat, you know. I mean, the easiest thing to do is just follow the upper triads. And of course, yeah, you can play, you know, G Phrygian dominant. It's G Phrygian dominant over those first two chords that are there. Yeah. Anyway, this is kind of like a bonus segment, I guess, getting away from the neo-soul thing. But anyway, I think I've probably covered enough stuff throughout the course of this. Kind of got some of the neo-soul commentary and different ideas I'm dealing with there. Also mixed with the some of the couple tunes off of the latest album that I just released. Yeah, I should also say, like, you know, I see a lot of these players, just kind of a final word on this, I see a lot of these players doing some interesting things with, like, harmonics, the neo-soul players, which I really like. I actually, you know, will use harmonics going up. And a lot of people, I see them playing them downwards, but a lot of times what I'll do instead of doing that is just rake. I use rake harmonics. Which, again, this is an idea of that I confiscated from Steve Bailey, who played with the other bass player, who played with Victor Wooten, Bass Extremes. It's really a cool technique. It feels real intuitive. Versus having to set your hand and do the ones down. Different players make it work really good. It's just something I like to do. So yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.